What's up, y'all? Hope everybody's day is going well so far. It's actually Wednesday, January 19th, January 18th. I feel like I'll be losing track of my days. So it's Wednesday, January 18th, probably. And I'm on my way to my Celebrate Recovery group. Almost said men's group because that's predominantly what it is. But it's not specifically for men. It's a recovery group that's open to everyone, but predominantly it's men that's attending these groups. So that's what I'm doing right now. For those who actually don't know what Celebrate Recovery is, which actually a lot of people probably don't know, because I didn't know until my therapist recommended to me. I remember when I first checked into therapy this time around, just to really kind of regroup, gather my thoughts, and speak to my therapist about my feelings versus where I was as far as the feeling of emptiness. Dealing with unfulfilled relationships, and really just at a place of not knowing what's necessarily next. And next can sometimes just be out of fear. For me, I'm always thinking about how can I capitalize on opportunities. And sometimes, although I'm filled with thoughts and ideas, despite being filled with thoughts and ideas, you can still not know what's next. So more recently, we developed an app in Greek 3, which I promised to upload a video detailing what the app functions are, what the app does. I'm still going to do that. And I also uploaded my more recent video talking about my wife and I officially filing for divorce. So these are things that, obviously trying to recover from. I started going to therapy again. And so Celebrate Recovery, how she originally explained it to me, it's like a recovery group. So you have different people there for different reasons. Whether that be for alcohol addiction, victims of abuse, trauma recovery, sexual addiction, whatever. It's literally anything under the sun. But these are people who essentially get together. It's a Christian based group, and they first start off by recognizing their downfalls, their shortcomings, and then recognizing their shortcomings. A lot of people are there because they just want to be around a sense of community, whereas there's an overwhelming majority of the people that are there because they believe in the sense of community that they're around, and they want that sense of community to allow them to continue bettering themselves. So you have different types of people there for different types of reasons. But so she recommended that I give it a shot. She said first time around you actually don't even need to speak, just sit down, listen in, and see what the group has to offer. See what the group really is for yourself outside of what I'm telling you. And see if it's something that works for you. And that's exactly what I did the very first time I went there. Ironically, I went there, the very first session I went was in early December or mid-December, and it was the 12-step graduation ceremony. So I first started hearing people open up about what they had been dealing with over the course of their life. They opened up about the traumas that served as triggers, which essentially served as their downfall. And the term that we would use is why they act up or acting up. And they just kind of delve deep into into what they learned throughout the 12 step of recovery, how it's helped them, and how, you know, they plan on continuing to practice these things just to be a better individual. So just hearing that on the very first night that I was there, just like hearing the transparency that everybody had to offer, although my intentions were to just sit in and just listen, I mean, the transparency of the guys pulled transparency out of me, and I just kind of opened up and let people know what I was kind of dealing with and things of that nature, and it's just been a sense of community ever since. And also hearing certain stories, you realize that it could always be worse. You know, and everybody's working through their own journey, so it's not to judge and compare, but you know, sometimes when you see a situation, you count your blessings. I'm reminded of that every time I drive by roadkill. You think you're having a bad day until you see a dead squirrel on the side of the road, or a dead possum on the side of the road, and you realize that, hey, it could always be worse. So it's kind of like that. So I mean, it's been so good so far. Today is actually the first day of our 12-step program for this year. Like I said, last year when I joined the group, it was towards the graduation part. Well, it was on graduation day, so I didn't exercise none of the 12 steps. But as I've been going, we've been pretty much reading scripture. We've been following through workbooks, and we've also been doing open share at the end. It's a 2-hour meetup. We usually meet up at 7 p.m. and it ends right at 9. But I tell you like this, man, given everything that I've been going through in this season of my life, it's been the best 2 hours of my life each week. Like I said, it's just something about transparency that is just so beautiful, because we all deal with so many different things. And as I've mentioned in my previous video, if people were just more transparent about the things that they go through, it would encourage other people to not feel like they have to always live a perfect life, or put on a show as if they're living in a perfect life. Instead, highlight what their downfalls are and really lean into other people for wise counsel, because although everybody deals with their own issues, you have people who are overcoming these issues daily. So leaning into those overcomers, just so you can have a testimony for yourself is important. So that's why I love this group so much. And like I said, I'm always super excited to go to celebrate recovery each Wednesday. I haven't missed a Wednesday since I joined in December. We had a 2-week hiatus, but outside of that, I haven't missed a day. I've been late a few times, 15, 20 minutes, sometimes 30 minutes late, but I've been intentional about leaving an hour ahead just to make sure I get there on time, because, you know, I truly look forward to these 2 hours. So if I'm not getting the entire 2 hours or the best of this experience or the most of this experience, then I'm only hurting myself. So that's that. But outside of that week in review, everything has been good. Everything has been good. I've been feeling good. I had a therapy session on Monday. I'm still doing therapy. I've been doing therapy this is the second month that I've gotten back into therapy. I've been in and out of therapy over the course of like 3 years, and by in and out, it's just I usually have seasons of tap-in. At first, I was totally against therapy. It's something that my wife had recommended to me, almost like, I don't want to use the word ultimatum, but she was pushing me towards it to get help, with everything that I had been dealing with. But one thing I recognize about help, and I have a colleague of mine that's actually going through this with their brother. Help is one of those things where you have to want for yourself. While I've had access to the same resources that I've always had access to, this is the first time that I've chosen to exercise these resources to my ultimate ability. If I'm being very honest with you, in my worst days, I was having fun. Everything that I did willingly, and I don't make excuses for my actions. But it wasn't until those things were no longer fulfilling to me that I actually decided to change my ways. But I use the word fulfilling because it corresponds with the believer and the unbeliever. Whereas if I were to use the term condemned, it would almost only correlate with the believer. So instead of me saying it wasn't until I was condemned about these actions or by these actions that I changed or wanted to change, I use the word it wasn't, until I was unfulfilled. But in a nutshell, it's one and the same. But yeah, that's what made me want to change. And for me, that moment of unfulfillment came with the self-realization of self-control. I opened up in my previous videos how my downfall has always been sexual purity. And for me, sexual purity, I've recently defined it as doing activities outside of the confines of my sexual established circle, right? So in other words, if me and my significant other, me and my wife, me and my girl, whoever it is, have agreed to practice monogamy, and here I am going against the confines of what we sexually agreed to practice, then to me that's being sexually impure. And that's what it's always been my entire life. This cycle of misleading women into thinking that we're in a particular partnership that we're not essentially in. And by that I mean something that I'm not following while they actually may be following it. So that's what the downfall was in my marriage and in my dating stages with my wife. And unfortunately it hurt her so much so where it forced her hand to go to the courthouse and file for divorce, which is unfortunate. And what's most unfortunate about that is that I hurt her in the way that I hurt her, because she didn't deserve that. She didn't deserve that, and it was essentially unfair. Yeah, so it's an unfortunate situation, and it is something that I'm deeply sorry about. But while I can't change how it's impacted her or the trajectory of her life, or even how she trusts people again or trusts men again, I have to recognize that it's uncontrollable at this point. But all I can do is move forward and be better. But it wasn't until, like I said, I felt like it went from being a decision to me actually not having self-control that forced me to change. And I have decided to just be honest with people. While I've been in this season of celibacy for the last 2 months, and I have not been trying to think about engaging in sexual practices just for the sake of keeping my mind clear. It is something that I plan on exercising, once I found myself in a safe space, or a place safe enough to actually, go back to physically offering myself to somebody. And so it's just, trying to be honest, whether that be in the confines of monogamy or hey, non-monogamy, just giving that person an opportunity to have a decision, and not decide for that person, which I think is what makes the situation ultimately unfair. When I've essentially decided for this person that hey, they're with me in a non-monogamous manner, despite me asking them to be monogamous while operating with me. So that's essentially how we got here. That's essentially what really made me want to join Celebrate Recovery after my therapist recommended it. Just kind of hearing these guys just talk so openly about their different downfalls or hiccups or hang-ups that they also felt like they didn't have self-control over, makes it so easy for me to understand that hey, this world that we live and in the battles that we fight, while there are different nuances to it, it's not something that is taboo. It's not something that's taboo to other people in their journeys. So that's that. But overall, the week has been pretty good. Given the circumstances more recently, I've been in pretty good mental space. Spiritually, I've been good. At my church, we're doing 21 days of prayer and fasting, and I say my church, but it's like the online church that I attend. I guess it is my church, but I still pay tithes to my home church back in Tallahassee. But every Sunday, I'm actually tapping into Transformation Church online to actually get the word. So I really don't know how you define which church I go to, given those circumstances, but yeah, they're in the season of 21 days of prayer and fasting, which is has been a yearly thing. This is my third year actually doing it with Transformation Church. Each year, they always start off by praying or by asking each, the members or the people that attend to, hey, pray about what you want to give up this year. Pray about what you're trying to sacrifice this year. What do you want to put to the side during these 21 days, just so you can hear it clearly. Me personally, it's so weird for me because typically when people think about prayer and fasting, they think about giving up food, they think about giving up like other things. But I always told myself like the thing that means the most to me in this season is always football. I just love football. There's something about watching football that gets me away from the world. Football is so beautiful to me. Like I'm the type of guy, I'm locked in NFL Red Zone on Sundays during football season, watching 7 hours of football. Then you have the evening game, so I'm always locked in there. So essentially on my Sundays, I'm watching like 9-10 hours of football. But I never feel like it's too much. So I'm a football junkie. And during this time, it's always playoffs. So with that meaning the most to me, and playoffs being the most important time of football, you guys kind of see where I'm going with this. That's usually what I give up every year. I give up watching football during the playoffs, during 21 days of prayer and fasting. And for the last 3 years, that fasting period has always ended like right before the Super Bowl or just a divisional playoff game. So it's still there. And while obviously you're catching the most important games, I still like to watch the nuances of the game of football. Like every play, every down, every defensive set, every offensive set. I don't watch football just to watch football. I watch it to really understand how each player is putting their IQ into perspective and how it's impacting the game. I focused on the details so much so that I'm only truly interested in professional football. I don't watch much college football because I think in college, and obviously this is just me throwing something out there, I think in college disproportionately a lot of those players are playing off mere talent where they don't really understand the game. They don't really understand offensive and defensive sets. They don't really they don't really understand how to watch film dissected. They're just really going based off talent. Just the fact that I can overpower somebody, I can outrun, outjump, outthrow someone else makes it easy for them to prevail. But I don't think disproportionately that those college players are playing at a high IQ level, whereas pros, it's different. I do believe it's nothing but high IQ play, so that's why I'm always most interested in professional football. And also, I'm an Eagles fan, diehard Eagles fan. I got into watching football when I was in middle school, and during that time, it was a defensive league, man. You have your safety linebacker tandems like Joey Porter, Troy Polamalu, Ryan Clark. You have Ed Reed, Ray Lewis. I mean, you're all kinds of stuff. Brackett, Bob Sanders, Antoine Bethea. I just grew up watching defensive football. I love safety play. Brian Dawkins is my favorite athlete of all time. Not just football player, but athlete of all time. Sean Taylor, just watching those guys just fly around the field. Football was just, it was just so beautiful. But, like I said, when I got into football, something about that Eagles defense. It's something about, watching Lito Shepherd, Sheldon Brown, Jeremiah Trotter, Javon Curse coming off the edge. I mean, just something about that Eagles defense was just so mind-blowing for me. And, of course, on the offensive side, you had the Donovan McNabb, Brian Westbrook. Then you had Shady McCoy once they drafted him, really just changed the game of spicy running back play. The only thing close to that I've seen highlights of was Barry Sanders. LaShawn, Shady McCoy was a joystick. So that, then, you had the rebirth of Michael Vick via the Eagles era. But Eagles football was just so beautiful to me. And it was so beautiful to see them win the chip in 2017. And hopefully they could do it again. Jalen Hurts and the Eagles right now are the team to beat. But yeah, that's how I got into football. I actually started playing it for myself in high school. Started off on my it was JV team my freshman year, and I wasn't on JV for long before I got moved up to varsity. And that was even more soothing than watching the game being played when you actually get out on the field and you're flying around with guys that you grew up with, guys that you love, guys that guys that you ran the neighborhood with. It's nothing more beautiful than that. So that was amazing too. And man, this stream is super dark. So yeah, man, the football was so beautiful. It is still so beautiful. It's a beautiful game to watch. It's a beautiful game to play. These days, I still feel like I could strap on a helmet and play some downs. But clearly, I got a torn Achilles for thinking that I could still play basketball. So I'm probably just overshooting it anyways. But it was fun while it lasted. In my book, I'm actually opening up about myself. I'll probably make a separate video about that. But yeah, that was an interesting time. My high school head coach literally made me make a choice, and I had to walk away from football because obviously making sure that I wasn't hungry or helping my mom provide for the family was priority at that time. So I'll probably make a separate video about that too. But yeah, so essentially I just wanted to make a check-in video and just kind of discuss how things have been. So I'll catch you guys on the other side. I'll probably make another video within a few days, or next week. I have my second follow-up appointment. Give you guys a second or third look at my foot. Hopefully my Achilles is officially connected by next week. In that way, the next few weeks after that, we're only really discussing strengthening it. So I'll check in with you again, and we'll go from there. That'd be great.